Videocast number 58, Small Troops and Large Troops. You might be in a large troop that used to be small, or a small troop that used to be large, or your troop might have always been large or small. Troops change over time as the demographics of your area change. As boys age out, as boys move up from cubs or don't move up from cubs, younger scouts might have friends or family in existing troops that may lead them from one unit over another unit, or the adult leadership might be naturally inviting to the boys, raising your unit size. In all cases, there are pluses and minuses to having either small or large troops. Large group activities are a lot of fun, but obviously this only works if you have enough boys to make it work. Dodgeball is one of those activities that becomes a flurry of activity when you have a lot of boys. But with large groups comes more noise, and the ability to control the room becomes harder. My troop is larger than most, and this is one of the reasons we have 2 assistant senior patrol leaders, as it helps with the organization and control. The smaller your groups are, the more hands-on skill activities you can do as a whole group. To combat this in a large group, we tend to break into 2 groups. What this means, however, is that the patrol is presenting needs to have 2 sets of presenters, which becomes an organizational thing that needs to be considered in advance. Boy leadership is one of those areas that can suffer from an overly large group, as boys need a position of responsibility to advance to higher ranks. What we have begun to do as a large troop is to double up on a couple of positions, like Quartermaster, where we have 2 boys in charge of the troop equipment. One thing to keep in mind is that with 2 people in charge, it can easily go to no one being in charge, as they can each look at each other to take on responsibilities. Another thing we have done is to begin using the instructor position. We have a boy in our troop that is in charge of knots. He teaches the younger boys anything knot related, and even has helped out at a district event showcasing knots. He has done a fantastic job so far, and I'm proud of how he's taken on this responsibility. From a troop coordination standpoint, logistics can be a much more involved process with larger troops. When I first joined the troop, we were pretty small, about 16 boys. Logistics weren't a problem. If you have 60 to 75% of the troop going in an activity with a small group, you're talking about transporting 9 to 12 boys. This equates to about 3 cars, depending on the size of the vehicles. Since we're generally pretty fortunate to get 4 to 5 leaders to attend a trip, this was barely a consideration. But when a troop is 45 strong, the math becomes more difficult, as 27 to 35 boys are spread out among the same 4 to 5 leaders. This brings us short by at least 2 cars, not to mention the associated gear necessary for the larger group. This makes us less agile and more reliant on other adults to pick up the slack. Additionally, in the Northeast, we spend about 3 to 4 months in cabins, which starts to become difficult when you have a large group. But big or small, the dynamic in the troop is always changing. Take what you like, leave the rest, and as we say in Woodbadge, feedback is a gift. Leave yours below in the comments, with all the hope we can learn together. I'm Scoutmaster Dave, and this was a bit on troop size.